Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Northern Kentucky Spotlight Podcast presented by CVG. I'm your host, Sarah Brookbank, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of the podcast. First up on today's episode, we are joined by Hank Heidrich, the new NKYP chair. He highlights what's new with Northern Kentucky young professionals and showcases our upcoming NKYP Kick-off Meeting. Also on the podcast, we are joined by Betsy Eiserman of Easterseals Redwood, who showcases their upcoming Assistive Technology Expo and what employers need to know about assistive technology in the workplace. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, CVG, our title sponsor, C-Crew Consulting, our digital sponsor, and our episode sponsor, Schneller-Knockelman. Get excited for the return of Blank this fall and join us on Tuesday, October 15th for Eggs and Issues, Blank, a festival of light and art. Our speakers will provide a glimpse into what to keep our eyes open for this year at Blink and how the event shines a spotlight on the Northern Kentucky region, as well as the impacts it will have on the local economy. You can register for this event now at nkychamber.com/events. Now, let's go hear from our sponsors, meet our members of the week, and I'll be back with this week's guest.
Why would you travel to England?
For football.
To go or not to go? That is an easy question. To visit the land of Shakespeare.
To take in all the sights.
Authentic fish and chips.
To experience arts and culture.
2 words, British Open.
To visit my family.
Same reason I go anywhere. For a pint of beer. To start my trip through Europe.
Whatever your reason, there's no better time than now.
Congratulations to our members of the week. You can learn more about these businesses by following the Northern Kentucky Chamber on social media, where we will highlight one of these businesses each day. Now, let's meet our members of the week. The Northern Kentucky Tribune is a nonprofit, nonpartisan, independent public service news organization. Sunset Slush of Northern Kentucky is the finest and most flavorful Italian ice. They call it designer ice. Founded in Cincinnati in 1920, DAV is a nonprofit organization with nearly 1 million members. Peak Productivity provides executive coaching, business productivity consulting, and team training. Munninghoff Lang is a regional CPA firm located in Covington that serves many industries, including automotive, construction, hospitality, insurance, and retail. Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, I am joined by Betsy Eiserman, the Assistive Technology and Accessibility Manager at Easterseals Redwood. Betsy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Yes, I am so excited to have you on highlighting National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Obviously, Easterseals Redwood, you guys do so much with people with disabilities in our community. Tell me a little bit about what you do and what your department does.
So I am the Assistive Technology and Accessibility Manager, which means I run both centers in Northern Kentucky and also in Walnut Hills. We pretty much do a little bit of everything. We lend out assistive technology. We do assessments. We do workplace accommodations. Anything and everything that pertains to assistive tech.
So you mentioned you guys do a lot with the assistive technology, and you guys have multiple resource centers that you run. Tell us a little bit about the resource centers and what employers and what people in our community can do when working with you guys.
So we have an AT resource center in Northern Kentucky in Fort Mitchell, and we have a whole host of equipment that is available for the public to borrow, to try out. That's the purpose of both of our centers, is to make this equipment, whether it's low tech or high tech, available for individuals so that they get to try it before they either go through insurance or they purchase. Because if you don't try it, you don't know if it really is useful and beneficial and if it does everything you need it to do. Mm-hmm. So when people borrow assistive technology from either center, we provide unlimited support for that. So we will train, retrain, problem solve, troubleshoot, anything during that 30 days. And then at the end of 30 days, if the trial was successful, we help coordinate with vendors so that the individuals can make a purchase.
So you mentioned you work with people with this assistive technology, and I think I should backstep a little bit. So tell us what assistive technology is and what, I know it's a real big range. So tell us a little bit about what some of those products are.
Assistive technology is a huge range. So you can have something as simple as a pool noodle that, given the way that it's used, can be considered assistive technology. So if you need to build up the handle on a broomstick and a pool noodle does that, then the pool noodle becomes assistive technology. Same with a pencil grip, that can be assistive technology. Chewy that someone uses if they're in school and they just need that oral stimulation, all the way up to robotic feeder, home monitoring systems, vision glasses that can identify people and read text out loud. So it really does go from no tech to high tech. And assistive technology is any device, whether it's created by someone or purchased off the shelf, that allows someone to do something that their disability would prevent them from being able to do. So it's in the areas of communication, activities of daily living, mobility and seating, hearing, vision, and recreation and leisure.
Yeah. So like you said, kind of all encompassing.
All encompassing.
And when you're working with employers and when you're working with your clients, what kind of assistive technology are you guys seeing that's used in the workplace?
In the workplace, we've seen things as easy as an ergonomic mouse that makes it easier for someone, or dictation software. So if you have an individual who's struggling with carpal tunnel and can only type on their computer for so long during a day, sometimes you can use the built-in features with Microsoft, their accessibility features, but sometimes you need something like Dragon Naturally Speaking, which will allow someone to speak in the text and it just appears in the cells. We've also seen in the workplace some desire for noise-canceling headphones and lighting options, different seating options. So really reasonable accommodations, nothing that's too crazy high tech to make someone have all of the supports that they need to do their job.
Yeah. And when you talk about things that make it easier for employees to like exist day to day, there's a really wide range. When you're talking to employers, what's something that they can do to make their workplace more welcoming for everyone, not just their employees that either have a disability or need a little bit more help day to day?
I think employers as a whole, making things generally available, universal design is huge so that someone doesn't feel the stigma of having to ask for what they need to complete their job and to be more comfortable. So lighting that can be adjusted, maybe having space heaters available for employees to use if it's cold in the building. You know, temperature can sometimes really hamper somebody's ability to do their job. Different keyboards, large print keyboards, different type of mouse, different kinds of ergonomic seating. That's another big one. If your feet don't touch the floor comfortably, you're not in a good body position to type, and that may fatigue you earlier in the day rather than at the end of the day. So pretty much anything to avoid the stigma of someone having a disability and having to ask for that accommodation. If it's just available, that's a real win for the employee.
Yeah, I love that. Just making everything a little bit easier for each employee is something that will just make everybody more comfortable. One of the things that you guys have coming up also in kind of this realm, you guys have an Assistive Technology Expo. I know that's probably going to skew a little bit more high tech for some people, but tell us a little bit about that event and what people can expect.
Believe it or not, we have a broad range of vendors coming in with their technology. Some is very high tech. We have OB Robotic Feeder will be there, and they are very high tech. And then we also have SafeWave, which is a wristband alert system. So less high tech because it just pairs to an app on your phone. But we run everything from those two and everything in between. So we have a broad range, everything from vision to hearing to communication. The Bridge Adaptive Sports will be there, kind of talking about what recreation and leisure is available that's adapted in our communities. Bolts to Nuts Farm will be there doing an adapted cooking demonstration. So not your traditional vendor fair. We have a little bit more excitement going on around so people can really get in the spirit and interact with different organizations as well as vendors.
Yeah.
So it's October 9th from 2 to 6:30 p.m. at Northern Kentucky University in the Student Union Ballroom. Parking is free. The event is free. We will have materials provided in Braille for individuals who are visually impaired, and we will have ASL interpreters for the deaf and hard of hearing participants.
Yeah, I love that. And you can obviously find a little bit more about that on your website and your social media pages if they're interested in registering. And Betsy, before I let you go, it's been really fun to talk about assistive technology. But like I said, Easterseals Redwood doesn't just do that. And I know you work a lot with employers. So are there any tips or tricks or advice that you would like to give to the employers listening or watching the podcast when it comes to working with people with disabilities?
I think always listen to what your employees need. They're not going to ask for anything unreasonable. And it really is just assistive technology that can make doing their job possible. And we are a resource. We have all of these items available for that free trial. Employers can call us and say, oh, here's what we're facing. Here's what the employee wants. And we can kind of help navigate that situation between the employer and the employee to make sure everything works out.
Yeah, it's so great to have you guys as a resource here in Northern Kentucky and across the river in Ohio. But Betsy, it has been such a wonderful time having you on today. Before I let you go, is there anything else that you think our viewers and listeners need to know about you, your department, or Easterseals Redwood in general?
I just think that people need to know that we're here. We're a resource. We're available Monday through Friday from 9 until 5:30. We're open to the public. You do not have to be a participant at Easterseals Redwood to come see us. We don't ask for proof of a disability. It can be even a family member that comes in on your behalf. And we just want to make sure that individuals have what they need in the AT world and Easterseals Redwood as a whole.
All right. Well, Betsy, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Ranking on Google Search and Maps is easy to understand, but hard to do. It requires constant effort and attention, uploading new photos, responding to Google reviews, writing weekly posts, and checking suggested updates. Google listing optimization takes experience and time, and there are no shortcuts. C-Crew gives your Google My Business account the steady, consistent attention it needs to be effective, optimizing, updating, and expanding critical content every single week. From local retail stores to large regional networks, C-Crew generates content, establishes benchmarks, and creates dramatic, measurable increases in engagement. So what can C-Crew do for your business? More calls, more clicks, more clients.
Hi, everyone. Today on the podcast, I am joined by our new NKYP chair, Hank Heidrich. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
I'm very excited to have you on and talk about NKYP.
Yes.
Love NKYP. A lot of cool stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what's new, what's going on.
You know, a lot of great things are happening with us this year. Biggest thing is we are going to take some events that we've been doing for the past couple of years, and we're really trying to kick some more life back into them. Mm-hmm. We're going to change the topics that we're going to do. We're going to be going from maybe fireside chat with the CEO type structure and lunchtime leader chat to doing more of and adding a value proposition. And maybe that is a lunch and learn type structure more for YPs, for subjects that maybe we're going through at this time of our life that they can actually take home as tangible information. So that's one of the biggest things that we're going to be changing this year. We're looking forward to.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I know last year, one of the things that was really big was the service learning project.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of changes going on in NKYP recently, and it's all been really exciting. But we're about to kick off a whole new year on October 10th with our kickoff. Tell us a little bit about that event.
Big event. It is going to be, like you said, it's our kickoff. It's the way we're going to introduce what we've got going on this year. We're going to introduce our new committee members. We're going to introduce our kind of a progression for our next chair as well, which is going to be Toria Roberts. And we're going to lay out the groundwork of what we're going to do this year. And that's going to include some lunchtime leader chats, as I talked about. It's going to be our service learning project. We've got a handful of cocktails and conversations type structures we're going to be introducing, our event with the Florence Y'alls. We're just going to be laying the groundwork for what this year is going to be, what we're trying to accomplish as a group, and just kind of get us off on the right foot.
Yeah. And one of the things that's so nice about NKYP is outside of like the standard chamber programming, it really is targeted to young professionals under the age of 40. Tell us a little bit about the benefits of getting involved with NKYP. Obviously, you and I know what those are, but maybe some of our listeners don't.
I think you nailed it. It is creating an environment that you're new to the region, you're new to the professional life, that you're going to be around people who are in a similar situation with you. Sometimes when you walk into an Eggs and Issues, for example, it can be a little intimidating, right? You walk in, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know anybody in this room. I don't know what's going on. So NKYP is a program specifically designed to foster inclusive environments for people who are in the YP demographic, like I said, starting a new career or just moving to this region. And at the same time, it gives you opportunities for leadership roles. We've got a couple different channels that you could go. You could be on an event side where you're helping plan these events that we're talking about, or we've got an engagement side, which is helping with recruiting new members. Also, with the service learning project as well, they kind of had that aspect up. So, like I said, opportunities for leadership, really just get to know people, creating the network. And the best thing that I found about it is, hey, after I've started doing the YP aspect for a little bit, and you start going to some of these other events, you walk in, one, you're a little more confident. Two, you just know more people in the room. And it makes it such more an enjoyable event, and you can get more out of your membership as well.
Yeah, I think that's really crucial to highlight that. It's like a stepping stone that brings you closer into the chamber, gets you more involved.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you were our chair this year and you were involved last year. What is the biggest benefit that you've been able to take away from being involved in NKYP?
My biggest benefit has been engaging in the leadership opportunities. And the reason I say that is it has brought me the closest relationships that I've had through the chamber, right? When you go to an event, there might be 50 or 100 people there. You might meet one or two and kick it off well with them. But when you join a leadership position or one of these committees with us, you're with the same 20 people once, if not twice a month for meetings, plus the events, at least for a year. You really get to know those people. And that's really the key of the chamber, in my opinion, is building those relationships at a deeper level than just surface level. Right. And that's been the biggest benefit to me is just I've got, 20 people that I feel comfortable that I know who they are. I know, more about them than what I can find on their LinkedIn profile.
Right. Yeah. Definitely going a little bit deeper than your standard LinkedIn profile. You've mentioned a couple of times leadership opportunities that we have within NKYP. And you touched on those a little bit, but can you give us a little bit more of an idea of how people can get involved, what people need to know if they're interested in digging a little bit deeper?
Yeah, absolutely. First kind of step there would be talk to myself, talk to Tori Roberts, who's my vice chair, or talk to Kyle, who is our chamber representative. Kind of the process that will work, you reach out to one of us. Typically, that conversation will then be directed through Kyle to give you an idea of, hey, this is what we've got available. This is kind of how the process works. We ask for a little bit of engagement from people who want to get engaged on the leadership side. Come to a couple of our events. Come to cocktails with us. Introduce yourself. Have a conversation. And then we kind of go a little bit deeper and say, what are you looking to do? What are you looking to get out of it? Try to figure out what the best committee would be for them at that point and kind of create a plan to get them integrated into what the position would offer.
Yeah, makes it really easy to get involved. And it's, even if you don't want to get into a leadership position, just being involved in NKYP and going to the events is so much fun. It's one of my favorite things about the chamber as a YP.
No doubt.
Personally.
Good. Glad you enjoy it.
But as the new chair, you're going into this year, we're about to kick it off. What are your goals? What are your objectives? What are you looking forward to?
Biggest thing in the theme that we've had in our conversation is creating more value for YPs, right? And we want to do that by, as I was talking about, changing some of the events to being more tangible learning experiences for situations that YPs are going through, getting more exposure to the general chamber as well, right? Finding ways that we can connect the YPs with the business leaders that are members of the chamber. Really just making sure that if people are engaging with us, that they're getting something out of it. Because you see a lot of other organizations that have something, and the feedback is, hey, I go to these things, but I don't really get anything out of it, right? And so that has been my hyper focus as the chair is I want to make sure we are creating as much value for all of our YP members as we can.
Yeah, well, I'm so much looking forward to the new structure and the new events that we are going to bring on, or the slightly restructured events. But Hank, before I let you go today, is there anything else that you think people need to know about NKYP?
Again, we got the kickoff meeting coming up here in a couple weeks. That is open to anybody who would like to come. If you're at all interested in NKYP, come check it out. It's a free event. There's no charge for it. We're going to have it down at the Beeline in Newport on the Levee. We'll have a little bit of a program giving you an idea of what we're going to do for the year. We're going to have a cocktail together. But really, it's just a great opportunity to get involved, to meet other people who are just like you in maybe the same position in career, build that network, because we all know that, hey, at the end of the day, network is key. And let's go ahead and build that foundation for it at a young age, and it'll pay dividends as we get older.
Yeah, well, Hank, thank you so much. And for people who are interested in registering for this event, they can visit nkychamber.com/events or go to our social media pages for NKYP, and those links will be all over the place.
You got it. Facebook, LinkedIn, all those locations. We'd love to see you here in a couple of weeks. Hopefully you can join us.
All right. Well, Hank, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thanks for having me.
Chris Knockelman with Schneller Knockelman Plumbing, Heating, and Air. It's spring now, but before you know it, our ACs are working overtime.
Dave, it's going to be warm soon.
Right now is a good time to get the AC serviced, right?
You can get your AC tuned up for only $59.
So get your $59 tune-up at
SKPHA.com. SKPHA. So if your plumbing and mechanical systems give you trouble, just remember our name, Schneller Knockelman.
Housing is a regional priority. Having an ample supply of homes is fundamental for the Northern Kentucky region to meet basic economic needs and enable regional growth. Learn more about income-aligned housing, the region's housing needs, and why it is essential to ensure Northern Kentucky continues to be a great place to live, work, play, learn, and give back at bit.ly/NKY Housing Study.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into the podcast today and learning a little bit more about NKYP and Easterseals Redwood's assistive technology. Thank you to our podcast sponsors, CVG, C-Crew Consulting, and Schneller Knockelman. And don't forget to register for Eggs and Issues, Blink, a festival of light and art happening on Tuesday, October 15th. That will be a great conversation with our panelists. They are all experts in this, and I am excited to hear what they have to say about the return of Blink. Finally, if you are a member who would like to be featured on the podcast, or if you're someone who is interested in joining the Northern Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, please reach out to Lynn Ablin. And if you're a member who would like to share your workforce strategies and resources on our Talent Strategy Spotlight, please reach out to Nancy Spivey. You can find their contact information on the screen in front of you if you are a viewer, and our listeners can find that, as always, on our website at nkychamber.com. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next week.